going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to a very special video. You can tell from the title, I'm going to be answering one of the biggest questions that I always get. I get this question almost daily in every little comment section in every video I've ever posted, and that is, of course, Blossom, how do you make so much money? Now, I've answered this question before, but never as in-depth as I'm going to today. Today, I'm going to tell you how to finesse clubs, because everybody knows the short answer. I make a lot of money in top drives from clubs, but today I'm going to tell you how to use clubs to the best of your abilities. We're going to talk about how to finesse clubs. So let's get into it. I have written a 7-page document, and you can check this out. It's on my website. So if you want to give it a read, go to my website. The link is in the description below in every video I've ever posted. Go into a new tab called clubs, and it will link you to this document that I've written down. But if you don't want to read it, that's why I've made this video, to compress all that information. But if you really want to really, live that information, eat that information, let it go into your brain, I would really recommend reading that document as well after watching this video. But let's get into how I make all this moolah, all this guap, all this cash, okay? So I split clubs into 5 different chapters. First one is the hardest, it's mentality. The second one is familiarity. Third one being efficiency. The fourth being the works. And the fifth is the execution. The fifth is the fun part. That's when you just do. But let's start off with step 1, mentality. So the overarching perception of clubs is that it's boring, right? That's what everybody tells you, and that's what you tell yourself. Well, here's the thing. That is the biggest problem. You need to stop telling yourself that clubs is boring and repetitive and look at the silver linings, okay? For me, the idea of making money is enough to outweigh the constant repetitiveness that the gameplay provides, or lack of, okay? In fact, to go on further, since the gameplay is so repetitive, it means that the system can be easily familiarized with, right? So now with that in mind, you can say that clubs is a resourceful game mode with an easy learning curve. Go in with that mentality. That's the main part. This is the hardest hurdle for any player to think about when it comes to clubs, and that is the mental game. You need to go in for positive mindset. You can't go into the game mode thinking, oh, it's gonna be boring, I'm gonna do the same thing over and over and over again. Think about it this way. You're gonna go in, you're gonna make some money, and you're gonna open some packs, and hopefully you're gonna get something good. So all in all, if all else fails, just tell yourself that clubs equals money equals ceramic pack equals a chance at your dream car. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. There are some days where I'm not as motivated as others, but I go in anyway. I go in, I think about, well, my main motivation is to make 1 million pack opening videos for you guys. But for you guys, since you're not YouTubers, or at least some of you, maybe some of you are YouTubers, but for most of you guys, just go in there thinking about the chance of getting your dream car, because clubs equals money. You can open a ceramic pack and you can get whatever your dream car may be. Maybe it's a DBS Superleggera, a Porsche 911 GT2, Porsche 962C, or of course, the super generic Bugatti Chiron. Either way, think about clubs as an opportunity for you to gain. Don't think about it as boring or repetitive, because if you go with the wrong mindset, you're never gonna want to start. And that bleeds on to step 2, familiarity. Let's say that you've gone through the first hurdle, the mentality part, the mental part. That's the hardest part. That's like, when people say when you go to the gym, going to the gym is 50% of the progress. Just getting there is the hardest part. Once you're at the gym, it's kind of like, once you're in motion, you stay in motion, right? Once you start working out, you want to keep working out. So the mental part is the hardest part. Once you've told yourself, okay, I'm going to play clubs today, I'm going to make money, and we're going to have a great day, then we go into familiarity, okay? So now that you're mentally prepared and ready to grind, it's time to know the system, because knowing the system, knowing how clubs work, will just make your life so much easier. And when your life is easier, you want to play some more. You want to do some more of that easy stuff, okay? So let me just give you a super easy breakdown of clubs. Usually, Clubs is made up of 2 sets of 3 combinations. These sets are tracks and requirements. So expect 3 or up to 3 tracks and up to 3 requirements. Examples of track sets would be Road Less Taken, California Storm, Dragon City, Circuit Breaker, Desert Sands, Grand Canyon, you name it, the works. Twist and Turn, Storm Chaser, I can go on this all day. In addition, examples of requirements, this should be pretty pedestrian for you guys, are things such as x5 Dodge or x5 Ultra Rare. In fact, I just finished posting the club requirements on my server today, and the club requirements, if I remember correctly, are today is x5 Rear Wheel Drive, x5 Super Air x2 USA, and I think x3 UK x2 Italian. And the track sets for today are Road Less Taken off-road, Desert Sands off-road, and Dragon City. Which moves me to my next point, actually, because this is a good tip for you guys, alright? Out of the 3 track sets that we get daily, always expect at least 1 to have off-road tracks. We're talking dirt, snow, grass, gravel, sand, okay? There will always be a Road Less Taken or a Circuit Breaker or a track that has a variation of non-asphalt tracks. This is unique. This is incredibly unique because off-road is a constant. Okay, that's why I always put an emphasis on off-road collections, especially when I do garage review. I'm always saying, oh hey, you're lacking all-surface tire cars in RQ40 to 43. Oh hey, you're lacking an off-road tire car in RQ56 to 55. That kind of stuff. I'm very critical about off-road tire cars because they're so incredibly important in clubs because, like I said, it is a constant. Because let's say one day in the clubs you have Road Less Taken, California Storm, and Storm Chaser. That has happened before, it will happen again. What that means is that for that entire day in clubs, because those are the 3 tracks, you can't use a single dry car. You can't use a performance tire car or a slick tire car because you have 2 wet tracks where you use standards, and then you have 1 off-road track where you use, all-surface tire cars or not performance, off-road tire cars, right? So there are chances where you can go into clubs and for that entire 24-hour period, you don't use a single drag car. You don't use a single performance tire car. It's rare, but it happens. But you want to have a constant. You want to know that no matter what day it is in the year, you can go in and do a race. And that's why you need off-road tire cars or all-surface tire cars. Okay? Because if you have a good collection, no matter what day it is in the year, you can go into clubs and know that you at least have one event where you can make money from. And that is the important part. You always want to be constantly making money. Alright? Less importantly, you can also familiarize yourself with the time span of a club season. Every season lasts 2 days, with the first day 5 hours longer than the second. This is because the second day has a 4-hour cooldown and a 1-hour refresh lag for tracks and requirements. So basically how I break it down is clubs has 2 days of 2 sets of requirements and tracks. The first day lasts 26 hours, and the last day lasts whatever 24 minus 5 is, 19 hours. Math! Okay? And yes, requirements and tracks refresh at 5 a.m. EST on day 1 and 6 a.m. EST on day 2. Having this knowledge is kind of just precautionary, just in case you aren't happy with the requirements on the first day. And you want to know when they will change. So bear in mind the changing of requirements is also gradual and not instant. So expect to see day 1 residue on day 2. That's a lot of things. I've seen people say, oh, sometimes clubs has 4 requirements. No, clubs never has 4 different requirements going on. What happens is that there's just day 1 residue bleeding into day 2. It's very minute stuff, and you shouldn't be worried about that. That's just something that you can keep in mind. Like I said, that's why I said in my notes, I listed it off as a less important factor. But it's one thing to think about. So basically, day 1 requirements are more important than day 2 requirements. So hopefully, if the day 1 requirements are better, we have more chances of playing them compared to day 2, if that makes sense. So, step 3, efficiency. So, clubs is all about making money and doing it as quickly as possible, okay? Ideally, think of clubs as a game of keep-ups. You know, when you play soccer and you want to like keep the ball on your feet and you don't want it to drop it on the ground. You want to jump from event to event as quickly as possible. In order to do this, you need to be able to identify the best events to join. The way I see it, there are 4 types of events. The first 3 I'm going to show you right now. So, first one I want to talk about is what makes this so good. While this one's pretty fundamental, right? First of all, it's just dying. Right, it's literally 600 points away from ending. But the most important here, I like to call this the confidence meter, and that is where's that undo button? Here it is. This is the confidence meter. Oh, let me get rid of that as well. This is the confidence meter. You see how full throttle is all the way to the end? That's what you want. You don't want some half-ass kind of crap where like the bar is like maybe like over here. You don't want that, because that is open for Legacy to come in and do like a quick switch around, you know, then we have to wait another 10,000 again. So you want the bar to be, you know, all the way to the end. You know, it doesn't matter if you're winning or losing. You just want, you know, one team to either be just getting destroyed or you are destroying the other team, right? So now let's talk about the second part. So I'm gonna get, where's that hand over here? Now we're gonna talk about okay. Now what makes this okay? Once again, it has the same principle where, you know, the bar, the confidence bar is all the way to the end. Full throttle is at a demanding lead, and I don't think that Legacy can make a comeback from that. That's what you want. What makes this okay and not good? Oh, I zoomed out. I'm gonna zoom in again. Is because let me undo that real quick. It's because, you know, it's not that far off being dead. Like, it's about halfway through its lifespan, but it's not bad because at the end of the day, you know that, you know, this is a full throttle win already. Legacy cannot turn it around. So you can join it and then probably wait, I would say maybe 15 minutes for this event to end. Now, last but not least, the last one I want to talk about is obviously what makes this so bad. Okay, so first of all, the confidence meter is, you know, just there. Like, it's really bad. Like, this tide can be turned super easily, and in fact the tide will be turned super easily because you think, oh well, it's not too bad, because, and I'm doing this from a full throttle perspective. Okay, so for once, just imagine you're in full throttle. I know it's not the best thing to imagine, but you know, just allow it. Okay, so you think, oh okay, you know, we'll just have to wait for this to bleed down like 6,900. That's not too bad. No, because this is the main important part here. Look at this. This event right now, although Legacy is winning, it's blocked off, right? So I'm going to bring the stroke a little smaller. So this is the one that we're looking at. As you can see, it's highlighted with that blue glow. It's blocked off, which means that full throttle members can join it, but Legacy members can't, because Legacy can't join this event because there's another ongoing event here and another ongoing event here. This looks like a weird like Mickey Mouse thing going on, right? Let's see if I can use a different color. Let me get rid of that and get rid of that. And then let's go for, I don't know, green. So you see how there's, oh, okay, well, green just didn't decide to show up today. But you see how there's an event here and an event here? Because of these two events, they're kind of blocking this third event. So Legacy can't reinforce, but Full Throttle can. This basically means that if more and more Full Throttle members join this and they get more and more wins, the tide is going to turn. So think about it this way, right? The countdown is from 10,000 to 0, and it hasn't even begun. That is the worst. You do not want to join that. It's the absolute worst, and that's why I've labeled this as bad. So hopefully that makes sense. Basically, you just want to go for the ones that are dying. You want to miss events like this. This is the worst. Not only that this is going to turn, Legacy can't join because, you know, they're being blocked off by 2 other events. So what you want the most is you want this. You want this to happen. This is the best one to go for. So let me look for the eraser real quick. Clear this. I don't want to clear the page, but you get what I mean. I can't find the eraser. This is the first time I'm using the sketch pad. You just want something like this. You want something where the confidence level is all the way to, you know, one end or the other. Winning or losing really doesn't matter. You just want it so you know that the event will end as soon as possible, and obviously the counter is really at its last leg. So that's the best case scenario, and this is the worst case scenario. So let's get back into the main video. So I probably would have made some video where I recorded this image where I told you what makes each track out of the first 3 3 good, okay, and bad. So we're gonna move on from here. Also, I have different notes in my script, not in my script, but in my document. Like I said, you can check it out in the link in the description on my website. But yes, now that you know what events what are the best events to join and when, those are going to be key to how much you can make. One wrong move and you can be stuck for an hour, maybe 2. This is because waiting for the counter to go from 10,000 to 0 takes time. It takes maybe, I want to say 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how badly you're getting destroyed or how, great you're destroying the competition. But it does take time, and you're better off just choosing a dying event, right? So jumping from event to event is key to keeping you alert and active. It minimizes wait times. You don't want wait times, because if there's a long pause, because each event is taking too long for you because you joined the wrong event, you might start doing something else. And if you start doing something else, this may lead you to forgetting that you were playing clubs altogether, and then maybe you come back in 4 hours where you realize, oh my god, I could have made 200,000 cash, but I didn't because I chose the wrong event. I went to do something else, and I totally forgot that I was going to play clubs today. So try your best to jump from event to event to event, from dying event to dying event to dying event. Keep the momentum rolling, okay? Now, secondly, after knowing how the countdown works, a rule of thumb is to play a minimum of 5 races, okay? A win is preferred, but a loss is okay as long as you actively raced. What you want is that silver participation. That is my holy grail of finishes, okay? Silver participation with top 10 performance. Because usually if you have the club booster, you can expect to get about 6,000 cash with a loss, or 7,000 cash with a win. Now, obviously, club rank also is a factor to how much you make. I have the highest club rank, so for me, this holy grail is 6,600 for a loss and 7,600 for a win. If you are the lowest rank in clubs, I think it's something like 5,800 for a loss and 6,800 for a win. And then if you move on to the second rank, it's 6,000, 7,000. So that's, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good amount of cash. That's obviously with the booster, right? So like I said, the image represents the holy grail for club finishes. Now, remember earlier when I said that there are 4 types of events, but I've only shown and explained 3 so far? Well, I want to talk about the 4th one. The 4th one's a little bit unique, and that is called bot racing. All right, so if you're watching this video and you are a free-to-play, bot racing might be for you in clubs. Bot racing is unique because the goal here isn't to get 5 races. It's to get 15 races. It's to get 30 races. It's not to get silver participation in this one. This one is about endurance. Think about bot racing as an endurance race, right? You don't need to use great cars for this, and that's what makes bot racing a little easier. You don't need to use your McLarens or your Bugattis or your Dodge Viper ACRs that's maxed out. You don't need to use that. You can go in with uncommons and rares, but instead of getting 5 races, you will need to get 15 or 30 just to maximize your income, right? So bot racing is different because you can use far weaker cars and still put out a win, right? So these races are better for free-to-play since it takes less skill, or I should say good cars. So personally, I don't like bot racing, and I only usually do them when I've depleted the servicing on my main cars from the other events that I do, and I find myself with nothing left to use, and then because of that, I will do bot racing. And usually when it comes to bot racing, I would field in my fuse material. So basically, when I want to join a bot race, what I do is that I will filter by ultra rare and then filter by unlocked, because those are all my fusible ultra rares, and I'll just use them because I know that I'll never need them for the other main club events. They're disposables, right? They're just there to get the win, because bot racing, all you do is beat bots with commons and 1 uncommon, so it's nothing much. So now we move on to step 4, the works. So a quick refresher on everything that we've known so far. Step 1 is mentality. Get yourself in the right mindset. Step 2 is familiarity, right? So you get yourself knowing how the main premises of clubs work. And then step 3 is efficiency. That is basically finessing how clubs work. So now you know how it works. Efficiency is basically using that knowledge, taking that knowledge and bringing it and using them and finishing those events as quickly as possible. So step 4, this is a really easy one. It's called the works. This one's very simple. It's just about getting the right cars in bulk. All right, so this is important. Hear me out here. Clubs is about having more of the best instead of having a wider selection. An analogy that I like to use is why field Ronaldo and Dybala and Morata? Morata sucks, man. Why field 3 of them if you have the capability of fielding 3 Cristiano Ronaldos instead? Obviously, this isn't going to work for Juventus. They don't have 3 Cristiano Ronaldos rolling around. But let's say that, you're playing FIFA and you had a chance. Like, would you want to play 1 Ronaldo, 1 Dybala, and 1 Morata? Or do you want Ronaldo? Top Drives gives us that privilege. You're not forced to use 1 Chiron, 1 918, and 1 BMW Isetta. You have the chance to use 3 Bugatti Chirons if you want. I mean, I guess that wasn't the best analogy because the 918 is really good as well. So I should say 1 Chiron, 1 Isetta, 1 Honda Beat. You don't need to use that variety. You can use 3 Chirons if you have 3 Chirons. Obviously, all depending to RQ. Clubs is also about using the best of the best. That's the thing that I was talking about. So said best cars can be found under the Blossom Choice list on my website, my Discord. Yeah. So if you want to know what are the best cars to use for clubs, just check it out on my website. Because like I said, on the website I added a new tab where you can read this document. And then there's also the Blossom Choice list, or if you are in my Discord server, we have dedicated channels, or there is a dedicated channel to every single Blossom Choice card. So basically, collect those cars, get them in bulk, max them out, have 2 or 3, you know me, I have like 3, 4 of each ultra rare that's really, really good, and deploy them in clubs, because clubs is all about using the best of the best. Who cares about variety, right? You want the best of the best. You want that squad depth. You want to get in those races. So that one's pretty easy. That is step 4, the works. Now moving to step 5, the one that I said was super fun, the execution. So you made it to step 5. Congratulations. This is all about execution. You know everything now. So like I said, well, here you go. When you get yourself into the right mindset, you start wanting to familiarize yourself with the game mode, right? And with the ins and outs of the game mode. So everything gets easier from here, right? Once you start with the mental part, when you beat the mental game, everything gets easier. You learn how the events cycle and what are the best cards to use, and everything else will work like clockwork. So here and now, it's a testament to perseverance and discipline. I believe in you. Gain that grain. Like I said in the document, yeet that wheat. So basically, the execution is just start playing, right? You're in the right mindset. You know how the system works. You know how to exploit it to make it as efficient as possible. Maybe not exploit, but you just know how the system works. So you know what cards to use, what events to join, what are the strategies to use, like everything I said earlier. So now it's just the execution. Just do it. Take what you've learned and go play clubs. Go earn that money. Go open those ceramic packs. Get that car that you've been wanting for since you started playing the game. Alright, so here are some additional hints and tips that I strongly suggest you practice for clubs. So now that you have all this information, and for those of you guys that are still wondering why Blossom is talking about clubs, like I said earlier, I make all my money from clubs. The answer is clubs, and that's why this video is telling you how to finesse clubs as best as you can. So these are some additional hints and tips that I strongly suggest you practice for clubs. Number 1, this is honestly a must. If you don't do this, don't even play clubs altogether, in my opinion. And that is invest in the booster. The booster is worth it. If the booster didn't exist, I wouldn't play clubs. The booster is amazing. It doubles your payout. It is worth it. I know it's about 500 gold, but let's be honest, you can make 500 gold in a week just from playing clubs, just from the season rewards, okay? Yeah, that might mean that your day or your weekly carbon fiber might be a little longer to wait for, but it's completely fine, because if you play clubs, that means you're getting an extra amount of maybe 30 to 40 ceramic packs a week, okay? Depending on how much you play. I make more than 30 ceramic packs a week. I make about 60 maybe ceramic packs a week, so about 2 million worth, something like that. Actually, yeah, about 2 million worth. A week. A month would be more. So the first hint is obviously buy the booster. You got to do that. Second one is buy the club's main map screen. Pay attention to the playable events tab on the bottom right. I'll show it right here. I'll show an image or something like that. Usually events at the top of the list are the ones that are dying out the quickest. But that, like I said, usually, sometimes, they maybe the algorithm messes up or something like that. But usually the events at the top of the list are the ones dying out the quickest. So that's an easy way for you to find which events are dying out the quickest. And last but not least, number 3 is for quick turnovers. Save and name your hands like what I've done below in the save hand category. Make use of that, right? This will save you the hassle of making a hand from scratch every time. So here's my example. I've also shown it in a document, as you can see here. I've named it all. Usually I don't name them like this. I named it for the video. Usually I just do like CKT, AMG. Like I just spam it because I already know what cars I'm using for what. But like I see in the picture here, road less taken, USA RQ360, speed of light, rear wheel drive, RQ120. Now I know what you're thinking, Blossom. What if there is a road less taken USA, but there isn't an RQ360? What I usually do is I just load in the RQ360 one because the format is already there, right? There are already 3 all-surface tire cars or 3 off-roaders, 1 dragster, and then 1 like twisty wet. The concept is there, so all you need to do is change it up. So let's say the RQ is too much, and I select the first hand, which is road less taken USA RQ360. You'll see this in the picture. Then if the RQ is too much, what I'll do is maybe I'll just replace the Cadillac CT6 with, I don't know, a Dodge Caliber all-wheel drive. At the same, at the end of the day, they're both twisty tire. They're both, twisty specialists with standard tires. That's what I wanted to say. Standard tire cars. And then let's say I still have too much RQ. Then maybe I'll replace the Dodge Demon with the 1969 Charger RT. Once again, it's the same thing, just less RQ. It's a drag specialist, right? The track sets are always going to stay the same. You just want to use the best cars you can within each RQ. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, not really a step. Just I want to do a little bit of closing as I proofread this guide. I feel like I've established all the essential ground rules to make the most efficient club experience, and I think that holds up pretty well. So ultimately, you just need to finesse the game mode, and I think this is a great guide for you to do so. And once you have finessed clubs, once you put yourself in the right mental headspace, once you understand how the game mode works, once you've preloaded the hands, everything is going to be easy. And once everything is easy, everything will work like clockwork, okay? So with that said, guys, that is how I make all my money from clubs. I get this question all the time, and I know after posting this video, I'm probably still gonna get this question all the time, but I really hoped it helped. This truly is like not my crash course. This is an in-depth course of how I play clubs to the best of my ability. Like I said, I've never made a video as in-depth as this. I've never spent so much time on a video like this. And yeah, I just hope that you learned something from it, and I hope that you would maybe give a second chance to clubs. Maybe this will give you some motivation. One more thing that I didn't write down in my document that I think would be another additional hint or another tip for you to bolster your club experience is usually I never play clubs alone, right? I'm always playing it either with a TV show on my PC running in the background, or I just have a good Spotify playlist. So just get yourself your favorite playlist, get yourself a drink, or load up your TV show, or maybe watch a soccer match while playing clubs at the same time. Multitask, you know what I mean? Because I feel like one stigma with clubs is that when people play clubs, they kind of feel like they're wasting their time. So if you can play clubs while multitasking, doing something else, that might make you feel a little better. That's definitely happened to me before. Sometimes I play clubs and I feel like, oh, I'm wasting my time. I'm spending hours and hours just trying to make 250K, 300K in a day. So usually I'll do it while doing something else. Like maybe if I'm writing like notes for another video that I'm going to make, or just watching a soccer match at the same time. So those are going to be all my tips for clubs. Let me know if this helped, and I really, really hope that it did. But anyway, guys, happy hunting, and Blossom out. Peace.